Hello, everybody. It's me, Carmine DeStefano, the Bookman. A while back, I had talked about individual themes and listed them in some kind of way. And since I haven't done a top 10 and anything like that recently, I thought, why not do something a little bit more intricate? Because I'm your bookman and I like making things difficult for myself. So here are, in no real discernible order, my top 10 recurring themes, with the guidelines being that they have to appear in at least 2 of the series games. At least 2. So let's start with one of the more obvious ones, and one I had mentioned before. Number 10. Since the beginning of gaming, everybody loved to get into the fighting genre. Whether it was beating up on the CPU or kicking the shit out of one of your friends, Street Fighter was one of those main titles that everybody got on board with since, well, Street Fighter 2, not so much Street Fighter 1. But the main character of that game, of course, Ryu Hayabusa, is one of the more noteworthy in all the fighting game genre itself. So, you'd think his theme would be the one to kind of punctuate that, and sure it does with Ryu's theme. Watch out, Sagat. He's got a pretty cool background song or something. I don't know. Number 9. You ever wanted to be a gorilla that rolled around the jungles catching bananas and balloons and your letters of your name floating around in the air for some reason? Well, Donkey Kong Country's got you set. And one of the main songs that has pretty much become Donkey Kong's theme started from the very first level in the very first game, which originally was called Jungle Hijinks, now has been called Jungle Japes or Jungle Hijinks or whatever, and has withstood every single game more or less throughout the entire series. So let's take a listen to that wonderful jungle beat that is called Hijinks, Jinx, I don't know, whatever the fuck it's called, Donkey Kong's theme. Number 8. Now I was going to make this the objection from the Ace Attorney series song, but then I realized that this other song, well, the Punch-Out song, came through in both Mike Tyson's Punch-Out ring battles and the non-Mike Tyson's Punch-Out in the Nintendo Entertainment System. So I said, that's at least 2, it fits, there you go, Punch-Out's theme. Number 7. I love Bayonetta and her games. So of course I know all about their little hot chick Japanese pop music that goes along with beating the crap out of demons or angels or anything in between. But there's one song that has appeared in all 3 of the numbered titles that starts you up, makes you realize what you're doing, and comes about when you're fighting specific angels in specific areas in the first one, just angels in the second and third ones in general. And that is, of course, Riders of the Holy Light. Number 6. And just a break from all the Japanese games, Mass Effect was one of my favorite gaming series. In fact, at one point it was my favorite gaming series. A role-playing game that wasn't just turn-based. It gave us a different kind of combat and a character with a voice. Different decisions, creating different timelines or different pathways in the entire series of games that you can import from one to the next to the next. And with all of that, during the more intricate moments of the first one, the more reminiscent or nostalgic moments of the second one, and the more epic moments of the third, there was that one theme that I had already mentioned earlier in one of my top 10 themes of all time, for me anyway, called simply Vigil. Number 5. Well, that was a nice non-Japanese diversion. Back to the Japanese games. Samus Aran is one of my loves. In that bulky Chozo armor, she runs around all these different environments all by her lonesome, shooting things with her arm cannon, progressing with all these other different Chozo technological weapons and what have you. It's tremendous to play as her, and somebody should probably talk about how it's an underrated series. I don't know who that would be. But there's that one song, and no, it's not Ridley's battle theme. That's coming another time for another top 10. But there's another song that personifies her and her magnificent bounty hunting, well, you know, what she does. It's called The Theme of Samus Aran. Number 4. Square Enix is a shit company that gives you nothing but boring games, repetitive of one another, the same old theme about rising against an empire with their vernacular and idiotic names to stuff, highlighted by their boring, repetitive, mundane combat systems. None more so than Final Fantasy, which has spanned for years, despite the fact that pretty much not one game's been good, and the one actual fun to play in terms of its battle schematic game, 13, is the one that all Final Fantasy fans more or less think is the worst out of all of them, which is pretty funny. But I do love that original victory fanfare. Now, instead of a bad JRPG series, how about my favorite JRPG series, Fire Emblem? Throughout all the years of them rising against dragons, there has never been any kind of bad or boring games, despite what some people would lead you to believe. And throughout the course of pretty much all of them, there's always been either this song or a variation of it that really changes it up but still makes it exciting. However, its original form is so heroic, it's so noble, it has to give itself its own spot in this list, which is of course the Fire Emblem theme. Number 2. It's a shame to see what Konami has become. When I was a kid, they were synonymous with quality games, whether it was Gradius or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, Contra, definitely not Metal Gear or Metal Gear Solid. But Castlevania is really the one that put them on the map. It's the series that so many others have imitated in different ways and has had a slew of tremendous soundtracks. But there's just that one song, which originally appeared in Simon's Quest or Castlevania 2, that always got me enjoying what I was doing when I was whipping a bunch of werewolves or zombies or skeletons or whatever else they had. And I'm talking about a song that has been reimagined so many different ways from Sunday, Bloody Tears. My favorite, of course, is the Super Castlevania version from the Super Nintendo. Number 1. The Legend of Zelda series has been around for almost 40 years and has inspired so many developers and so many producers to create games that are pretty much cheap knockoffs. So obviously the soundtracks have to be really, really stellar for games that require this much attention to detail, this much work and dedication. And out of all of them, the one that comes back time in and time again since Ocarina of Time is the one that is named after the main character herself, Zelda's Lullaby. And that's my list. So what'd you think? Anything I've missed? Remember, the guideline is at least 2 games in a long-running series. So 1 good song and 1 good game doesn't count. But leave your commentary below. Thank you all for watching. I have more for you soon to come. So stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.